this is the guy who, maybe some of you know the name, at the San Bernardino shooting, he was the man who sheltered the woman, and he died and the woman survived. Maybe some of you, I think his name was Jody, I can't remember. Johnson, Shannon Johnson, I think it was. Yes, thank you. But an interesting side story to this, he was such a sweet, loving guy. He was having his whole body tattooed. And so he was working with like 2 or 3 different tattoo artists. It's quite a project when people are doing this. But this loving guy, his father had died when he was very young, protecting someone else. And he had printed one of the biblical passages. I'm going to not get it quite right. There's no greater love than to lay your life down for another. I believe that's, in essence, the biblical passage about that. I think it's in John. And it's so kind of, if you will, ironic that he should lay his life down for another, just as his father had done. And so it was very beautiful because he had, the story's not sad at all. The gentleman who was talking about him was an Episcopal priest who knew, I think it was his sister, and he was saying that this man had been very involved in ecumenical studies. He was very religious, but not in any sort of form. And he actually, the guy who did the shooting, who worked at the place he worked at, he and him had a number of religious conversations because he was interested in the Muslim religion. We was interested in all religions. And so they said that even though it's a sad time, they also know that he did exactly what he wanted to do. That in protecting this young woman and giving his physical life, that he knew that there was something more, that there was an eternal life. And they asked the priest at the end, the Episcopal priest, how do you forgive these kinds of things? And the priest said, he says, what I find is, he says, first you have to get through the anger, because we do have anger about it. And he says, and once we get through the anger, I thought, well, in my mind, I was thinking, well, you can't forgive. You can't forgive, but a power within you can. And that's exactly what he said. He said, we need help to forgive because we can't do it. And he said, love was the way. That's exactly what we say here. Give each one a miracle of love instead. Because we are incapable of forgiving. You know why? Because we see it all. We see all the past. We hold on to all of our judgments about each other. It's hard for us to let go. But there's a power within you that can. There's a power within you that can see with that crystal clarity, as I was saying, what is truly going on within even the most troubled and troubling of people. And it is that we call upon during this holy season. And it is that this lesson is calling upon within us now. To let Christ's vision look upon all these things and judge them not, to withdraw that for just a moment and give each one a miracle of love instead. So, Father, your gifts are mine. Each one that I accept gives me a miracle to give. And I'm grateful to do it. And giving as I would receive, I learn your healing miracles belong to me. And I believe that that's what that Shannon knew at that moment. That giving what he would receive, love to give to another, to receive it, I learn your healing miracle belongs to me. It doesn't matter whether we have a body or not. That does not end life. Just today, I was looking through my son's, he was having a challenge with some physics problem we were trying to, I said, well, let's look it up in the index. Of course, kids never look in the index to find, because if you look in the index, you can find where that, kinetic energy, motion, movement, something or other was, So we look it up, we look into page, 202, and we're looking on this, and I said, and I'm looking, he finds the answer, and I'm looking at the top, because I always say, let's start at the top of the page. And I said it yet again. It says, you cannot kill energy. It didn't say kill, destroy energy. Because we're talking about physics, it's always about energy. Cannot destroy energy, it just changes form. What are we? What is life but a life energy, a life force? Do you think that anything of God, the omnipotent, the omniscient, the almighty, can be stopped because a body no longer functions? That the life that makes you who you are stops because a body no longer functions? No way. No way. You cannot stop that energy. That energy merely changes form. Just changes form. So those who make this passage, and we will all make this passage, when we make that passage, it is not to be feared, but it is to be an exciting new adventure. None of us quite know what it is. But when we're ready, we will make it, and we will make it in, what do you think? The big L word? Yeah, love. Because in reality, that's all there is. It says, our Father knows our needs, everything we need. He gives us grace to meet them all. And so we trust in Him to send us miracles to bless the world and heal our minds as we return to Him. So He knows how to do it. He will bless us. He will heal us. He will give us the miracles we need so that we may be those instruments of offering that as we return to Him.